Close your eyes and listen. Can you hear it? The deep, resonant song of a blue whale, a lonely ballad echoing across hundreds of miles of open ocean. Think of the complex clicks and whistles of a dolphin pod, a vibrant, joyful conversation we are only just beginning to understand. Picture the sheer power of an orca breaching, tons of muscle and intelligence exploding from the waves, water cascading from its sleek, black and white form. For tens of millions of years, these were the sounds and sights that defined the living sea. They were the giants, the thinkers, the undisputed rulers of the marine world, warm-blooded, air-breathing marvels who returned to the water and conquered it completely. We look at them with a sense of awe, a deep connection to these intelligent social beings who live in a world so alien, yet seem so familiar. Now hold that feeling and imagine the sound fading away. The whale's song becomes a faint, ghostly echo, and then absolute nothing. The joyful chatter of the dolphins vanishes into an impossibly empty blue. The shorelines fall silent, the rocks now barren and lifeless, washed clean by indifferent tides that no longer greet any living thing. This is the ocean millions of years from today, a world that has undergone a profound and unnerving transformation. The age of mammals in the sea is over. It's a concept so stark it's almost impossible to truly comprehend, like imagining a sky without stars or a forest without trees. The vast, dynamic, breathing ocean we know has become a silent, hollow expanse. The great silence has fallen, and with it comes a chilling question. What does an ocean sound like when its heart has finally stopped beating? What could possibly cause such a colossal, global extinction? There is no single, easy answer waiting for us in this distant future. Perhaps it was a cataclysm we can all too easily imagine. A runaway climate shift that chaotically altered ocean currents and collapsed the intricate food chains they relied upon. Maybe it was something far slower, a geological event that isolated populations, or the relentless, unseen creep of a new, hyper-efficient marine virus against which they had no defense. It could have even been a gradual decline, a slow fading over a million years as other forms of life simply outcompete them in a radically changing world. We are left as cosmic detectives, sifting through the fossil record of a future Earth, searching for clues to a mystery whose witnesses have long turned to dust and stone. The why is lost to time, a ghost story whispered only by the silent layers of rock. But in the face of such monumental emptiness, life does not simply surrender. There is a fundamental law of ecology, as powerful and unforgiving as gravity itself. Nature abhors a vacuum. When a dominant group of organisms vanishes, it is never a true ending, it is a trigger. The countless ecological niches they occupied, the vast roles they played as titanic predators, tireless grazers, and continent-sized filter feeders, are now gaping holes in the web of life. These vacancies create an explosive opportunity, a biological gold rush for the creatures that were living in the shadows, the overlooked and the underestimated, all waiting for their chance to step into the light. The removal of the ocean's mammalian rulers wasn't a death sentence for the ecosystem. It was a reset button, wiping the entire slate clean for a new chapter of evolution to be written. And so, if we could somehow listen to this silent ocean, leaning in close across the gulf of millennia, we would eventually begin to hear something new. It wouldn't be a song, not in the way a whale sings. It would be different, more alien, almost mechanical. Perhaps a low, pervasive hum emanating from the sunlit surface, a vibration almost too low for the human ear to perceive. Maybe a faint, rhythmic pulsing of soft, internal light from the midwater, a silent language spoken in photons instead of sound. We might see the quick, almost imperceptible flick of a shadow where a seal once hunted. These are the first stirrings, the first whispers of a new order taking hold. The ocean was not dead. It was merely dormant, holding its breath. Now, the survivors and the opportunists are beginning to emerge from the abyss and the reefs, adapting, evolving, and seizing the abandoned thrones. The deafening silence is beginning to break. The empty stage is being filled by a cast of characters stranger than anything the age of mammals could have ever produced. When the kings fall, who rises from the unseen corners of the kingdom to claim the crown? What new sounds, what new forms of intelligence, What new nightmares are coalescing in the void left by the gentle giants we once knew? The grand story of the ocean is not over. It has simply turned to a new, darker, and more mysterious page. A new genesis has begun, and its first creations are already taking shape in the endless blue. We stand at the shore of this future sea, looking out at an alien world that was once our own, and we must ask ourselves, what comes next? In the silent aftermath of the mammalian age, the most significant void wasn't left by the fearsome predators, but by the gentle giants. Think of the baleen whales, creatures the size of buildings, peacefully sieving colossal amounts of krill and plankton from the water. They were the ocean's living engines, consuming tons of biomass daily and shaping the very chemistry of the seas. Their disappearance wasn't just the loss of a species. It was the shutdown of a planet-sized biological machine. This created a staggering surplus of food at the bottom of the chain, an all-you-can-eat buffet with no one left to attend. An ocean choking on its own abundance is an unstable one, and this imbalance was a silent scream of opportunity that echoed through the depths. The first response came not with a roar, but with a shimmer. In the sunlit upper layers of the ocean, the gelatinous zooplankton, the jellyfish, the salps, the comb jellies, began to thrive in this new reality. Without the constant grazing pressure from larger animals and with plankton blooms going unchecked, their populations exploded in a way that makes modern-day jellyfish swarms look like a drop in the bucket. It was a bloom that never ended, a quiet, gelatinous conquest of the photic zone. For thousands of years, the surface of the sea belonged to them. They were the first, simple inheritors of this new world, a countless, pulsating tide of primitive life. But evolution never stands still. Within this endless swarm, competition was fierce. The winners were those that could cooperate. Over countless generations, certain species of tunicates, simple filter feeders that already formed long chains, began to evolve towards a new, radical form of colonial life. Natural selection favored size and efficiency. Individual organisms fused together, specializing their functions, becoming less like a chain of individuals and more like organs in a single massive body. They grew and they grew, and they kept growing, until the ocean's surface was no longer a swarm, but a structure. An entirely new ecosystem had been born, not from the bottom up, but from the top down. Behold the glass forest's vast, continent-spanning lattices of living gelatin, some stretching for kilometers, drifting serenely on the currents. They are not forests of wood and leaf, but of living tissue and shimmering, translucent membranes. During the day, sunlight filters through them, casting shifting, dreamlike patterns of light into the water below, like sunbeams through a stained glass window. At night, they come alive with a soft, internal bioluminescence, a rhythmic, silent pulse that illuminates the sea in a ghostly, ethereal glow. They are the new filter feeders, a mindless, silent empire that has inherited the sunlit realm, beautiful and terrifying in equal measure. The horror of these forests is not in malice, but in their complete lack of it. They are a passive, overwhelming force of nature. They have no thoughts, no desires, no grand plan beyond their own silent, relentless expansion. Their growth is like that of a crystal or a frost pattern on a window pane, intricate, beautiful, and utterly indifferent. They choke out other forms of surface life, their sheer mass altering currents and creating vast, oxygen-poor zones beneath them. They are living, breathing architecture on a planetary scale, a testament to life's ability to create order from chaos. But the order they have created is alien to us, a silent, pulsating world that is both a cradle for new life and a tomb for the old. These shimmering, silent cathedrals have become the new savannas of the sea, the foundation of this future ocean's food web. But no ecosystem is ever truly peaceful. Life always finds a way to exploit a new environment, and a forest, no matter how strange, provides endless places to hide, to ambush, and to hunt. The quiet, rhythmic pulse of the glass forests is a constant, hypnotic beat, but if you listen closely, you can almost sense a counter-rhythm, something quick, intelligent, and predatory. Every garden has its hunters, and in the crystalline shadows of these glass cathedrals, something is learning to hunt in new, and terrifying ways. The glass forests, for all their alien beauty, are not empty cathedrals. They are a hunting ground. Within the shifting, crystalline corridors and dappled light, we see movement. It's not the lumbering grace of a fish, nor the slow drift of a jellyfish. It's something fast, fluid, and terrifyingly purposeful. We follow these fleeting shadows, quick as thought, as they navigate the intricate architecture. The niche once occupied by the agile, intelligent hunters like dolphins and seals is no longer vacant. It has been claimed by a lineage that has been waiting in the wings for hundreds of millions of years, a group of creatures whose intelligence has always been tantalizingly close to our own, the cephalopods. Without the constant pressure from marine mammals, the squids and their relatives underwent an evolutionary explosion. They became the undisputed masters of the midwater. The creatures we see now are their descendants, larger, stronger, and more cognitively formidable than any octopus or squid in our own time. Their bodies are shimmering canvases of chromatophores, cells that allow them to change color and texture in the blink of an eye. But this is no longer just for camouflage. It has become a language, a complex, high-bandwidth communication system of flowing patterns and strobing colors that ripples across their skin. They are having conversations in a language of living light. We witness a hunt. A small school of fish, sheltering within the translucent walls of the forest, is the target. A pack of these future squid descends upon them. There is no sound, only a breathtakingly complex display of light. One squid flashes a pattern of concentric circles, and the pack instantly splits, flanking the school. Another pulses a rapid wave of deep crimson, the signal to close in. They move with a terrifying unity, each individual knowing its role, all of it coordinated through a visual dialogue far faster than any spoken word. They are not just a group of animals hunting together. They are a single, distributed intelligence, a cohesive tactical unit executing a flawless plan. They have inherited the cognitive throne. The hunt is successful, but what happens next is what truly sends a shiver down the spine. We follow one of the squid as it carries its catch not to a random spot to eat, but downward toward the seafloor. Here, in the dim twilight zone below the forests, we discover something that defies simple biological explanation. There are structures, sprawling, deliberate arrangements on the seafloor, constructed from the bones of their prey, the shells of ancient mollusks, and strange, dark stones dragged from the depths. It's not a midden heap, not a random pile of refuse. The bones are sorted by size, arranged into spirals and radiating lines. Is this a larder, a nest, or something more? As we look closer, we see marks on some of the stones. They are crude, etched patterns, scraped into the rock by the powerful parrot-like beaks of the squid. They are not random scratches. They show repetition, symmetry. It is the first shocking flicker of abstract thought, of art, of ritual. These creatures are not just hunting and communicating. They are remembering. They are recording. They are building a culture. In the silent depths, an alien intelligence is taking its first steps toward civilization, and we are the uninvited observers to its birth. We are witnessing the rise of a mind utterly different from our own, and we have no way of knowing its thoughts, its motivations, or its ambitions. These ghostly cities of bone and stone pose a profound, unsettling question. What are they building towards? What is the purpose of these strange monuments and symbols? An intelligence that evolved in the cold, silent dark of the ocean would have a psyche we can barely comprehend. Are they creating a new form of civilization? Or are they simply acting out a complex instinct we mistake for culture? They seem poised to become the new masters of this future ocean. But they are not alone. There is a reason their settlements are built with a sense of guarded vigilance. Because in the crushing, absolute dark below them, the niche of the giant sperm whale has not been left empty. It has been filled by a collective, living nightmare. Let us descend. Leaving the twilight settlements of the cephalopods behind, we journey downward into the true abyss, the realm of perpetual night, crushing pressure, and absolute cold. Down here, sunlight is not even a memory. It is a physical impossibility. This is a world governed by eternal blackness, a three-dimensional battlescape where the only light is generated by the creatures themselves. The niche once held by the mighty sperm whale, a solitary, air-breathing hunter that dove to these incredible depths to hunt giant squid, now stands vacant. What kind of creature could possibly rise to claim such a throne? What could hunt the new, intelligent masters of the midwater in their own domain? Our sensors begin to return readings that don't make sense. We detect a biological mass moving through the abyss, something of truly impossible size, larger than any blue whale, larger than any creature that has ever lived. The initial assumption is a single, colossal leviathan, a true kraken of the deep. Suspense builds as we try to get a visual. The sonar pings back a shape that is disturbingly fluid, constantly shifting, lacking the solid form of a single organism. As our perspective closes in, moving through the inky blackness, the horrifying truth is revealed. It is not one creature. It is thousands, a swirling, cohesive vortex of living things moving as one. Meet the abyssal swarm. The individual components are, on their own, unimpressive. They are a species of small, degenerate shark, barely a meter long. Evolution in the total darkness has rendered their eyes useless. They are completely blind. Their skin is a pale, ghostly white, and from their heads hang intricate, bioluminescent lures, pulsing with a cold, blue light. Individually, they are simple scavengers. But they are never individual. They live, hunt, and think as a single, terrifying superorganism. They are a hive mind, a single will inhabiting thousands of bodies, a living storm of teeth and fins. How is this possible? They communicate through their bioluminescence. The rapid, complex pulses of light flashing between thousands of individuals are not random. They are a neural network made visible. This is their consciousness, distributed across the entire swarm, allowing for instantaneous coordination on a massive scale. When a pack of intelligent squid descends into the abyss, the swarm reacts. Flashes of light ripple through the vortex, a silent, strategic command. The swarm changes shape, stretching out, forming a living net of predators hundreds of meters wide to cut off any escape. The cephalopods, for all their intelligence, are individuals. They are trying to outthink a hurricane. The attack is a maelstrom of synchronized chaos. The squid flash their own desperate messages, trying to coordinate a defense, but it's like a handful of soldiers trying to talk over the roar of an avalanche. The swarm collapses inward. There is no central brain to target, no single leader to distract. Every shark is a small, autonomous part of a single, ravenous entity. The cephalopod's intelligence, their greatest weapon, is rendered useless against a foe that operates on a completely different level of existence. The swarm isn't hunting them. It's simply engulfing them, a tidal wave of primitive instinct guided by a distributed, alien consciousness. This living hurricane of teeth now rules the deep. It is the ocean's new apex predator, a terrifyingly efficient solution to the problem of hunting prey that is almost too smart to catch. It is a chilling reminder that intelligence is not the only path to dominance. Sometimes, the most successful strategy is to subordinate the individual entirely to the collective, creating a power greater than the sum of its parts. The swarm seems unbeatable, the final word in this new, brutal food chain, or so it seems. But the greatest powers in nature are not always the hunters. They are the architects, and even deeper, at the very foundation of this world, a far stranger and more fundamental power is stirring. Even a monster like the abyssal swarm must eat. Its existence poses a fundamental biological question. What is sustaining it? In the oceans we know, the deep abyss relies heavily on a macabre form of charity from the world above. It's a phenomenon known as a whale fall. When a great whale dies, its colossal carcass sinks for weeks, eventually landing on the seafloor. This single event can deliver a bounty of nutrients that can sustain an entire ecosystem of scavengers and specialized bacteria for up to a century. It is a vital link between the sunlit world and the crushing dark. But in this future, the whales are gone. The reign of life-giving carcasses has ceased. How, then, does the abyss survive? What is fueling the engine of this new, terrifying food web? To find the answer, we must go deeper than ever before, to the very crust of the planet. Here, at the hydrothermal vents, the seafloor is torn open by volcanic activity. Superheated water, laden with a rich soup of minerals and chemicals like hydrogen sulfide, gushes from towering chimneys of rock, known as black smokers. In our own time, these are oases of life in the desert of the abyss, supporting ecosystems based not on sunlight, but on chemosynthesis, the process of creating energy from chemical reactions. In a future ocean starved of organic matter from above, these vents are no longer just oases. They have become the heart of all life in the deep. As we approach a vast, newly active vent field, the scene is not one of individual chimneys, but of a sprawling, undulating mountain range that glows with a faint, internal geothermal heat. It seems to be a bizarre geological formation, covering dozens of square kilometers of the seafloor. But as we get closer, we see a texture that isn't rock. It's leathery, porous, and covered in vast, waving filaments that look like a dark, alien forest. The chilling realization dawns. This isn't geology. This is a living thing. The mountain range is a single organism. This is the chemosynthetic Leviathan. It is the distant, impossibly transformed descendant of a humble, bottom-dwelling creature like a sea cucumber or a polychaete worm. Over millions of years, in response to the starvation of the abyss, it abandoned mobility entirely. Its body has fused with the vents themselves, its biology merging with the planet's geology. It is no longer an animal in any traditional sense. It has become a living ecosystem. It does not hunt. It does not scavenge. It farms. Its massive, convoluted surface area is a perfectly evolved substrate for cultivating trillions of chemosynthetic bacteria. The Leviathan is a living chemical reactor. It channels the raw, toxic output of the vents through specialized pores and tissues, feeding its immense, internal and external gardens of symbiotic bacteria. These bacteria are the true producers, converting the planet's raw geothermal energy into living matter. The waving filaments that cover its body are not for movement. They are harvesting organs, collecting the bacterial mass and absorbing the nutrients. The cosmic horror of this creature is not its aggression, but its utter passivity and scale. It is a being that has become a place, a biological entity operating on a geological timescale, its life measured in the slow churn of tectonic plates. This is the true foundation of the new ocean. The Leviathan is the silent, unthinking god of the abyss, a life form so profound it has become its own habitat. It is the ultimate architect, creating a pyramid of life from the bottom up. The excess biomass it produces feeds legions of smaller creatures, which in turn feed the food chain all the way up to the abyssal swarm. The terrifying storm of sharks that preys on the intelligent squid is only possible because, far below, a living mountain is patiently turning poison into life. The ultimate power in this ocean belongs not to the fastest hunter or the smartest thinker, but to the slow, silent farmer at the bottom of the world. Let us pull back, ascending from the crushing dark and the living mountain at the bottom of the world. We rise through the swirling, silent vortex of the abyssal swarm, past the bone and stone settlements of the cephalopods, and upward into the shimmering, ethereal light of the glass forests. From this vantage point, we can finally see it all. It is not a collection of isolated marvels and horrors, but a single, perfectly interconnected machine. A new web of life has been woven, and every bizarre, terrifying, and beautiful strand is inextricably linked to the others. The engine of this world is no longer the sun alone, but the raw, geothermal heart of the planet itself, driving an ecosystem of unimaginable complexity. It is a cycle of alien efficiency. At the very bottom, the chemoleviathan transforms the planet's inner fire into life, feeding a garden of bacteria that forms the system's foundation. When the creatures of the upper layers die, a lone hunter from the swarm, a cephalopod lost in a skirmish, a fragment of the glass forests breaking away, they sink. This marine snow is no longer a supplement to the deep. It is a critical tribute, a flow of nutrients downward that complements the energy flowing upward from the vents. The glass forests feed smaller creatures, which in turn feed the intelligent cephalopod packs. And the cephalopods, the brilliant minds of the midwater, are the chosen prey for the terrifying collective consciousness of the abyssal swarm. Predator and prey, farmer and hunter, all locked in a perfect, brutal ballet. The great silence we first encountered was an illusion, born of our own limited senses. The ocean is not silent. It is simply speaking a language we have forgotten how to hear. The song of the whale has been replaced by the deep, geothermal hum of the Leviathan, a vibration that resonates through the very water molecules. The chatter of dolphins is gone, but it has given way to something far faster. The silent, strobing language of the swarm's hive mind, and the rich, flowing tapestry of colors rippling across the skin of the cephalopods. It is a symphony of light and vibration, of chemistry and pressure. The ocean is more alive than ever, but its pulse is now alien, its thoughts written in a vocabulary of photons and bioluminescence. And in this new world, history has become myth. We drift toward the seafloor, following one of the solitary, intelligent cephalopods. It moves with a cautious curiosity, its large, complex eyes scanning the terrain. Its tentacles delicately probe the sediment, searching for what? Prey? Building materials? Or is it simply exploring? It stops. Half buried in the silt is something that does not belong. It is a piece of bone, but its scale is impossible. It is a single vertebra larger than the cephalopod itself, its shape utterly foreign to this era. It is a fossil, a relic from a lost world, the bone of a great whale. The creature extends a tentative arm, its sensitive suckers gently tracing the contours of the ancient bone. There is no recognition, no understanding of what this object represents. For this new mind, the giant that this bone belonged to is as fantastical as a dragon is to us. It is a glimpse into a mythological past, a time of air-breathing sea gods that have long since vanished. What does it think? Does the sheer scale of the object inspire a form of primitive awe? Does it register as anything more than an unusual rock? In this single, quiet moment, millions of years of evolution touch. The new intelligence of the sea confronts the ghost of the old, with no context, no history, only a silent, profound mystery locked in stone. The age of mammals is over. The age of song and breath is a memory, a fossil record waiting to be misinterpreted by minds we can barely comprehend. But life has not simply moved on. It has not merely replaced what was lost. It has torn down the old reality and built something fundamentally new in its place. It has created a world stranger, darker, and more magnificent than we could have ever imagined. The grand, sprawling story of the ocean has not ended. A new Genesis has been written in the dark, and its children, born of silence and pressure, now inherit the endless blue.